Hey there guys, Zach here from WinBeta, and welcome to episode number 56 of the WinBeta podcast for the week of March 11th, 2015. With me as co-host Sean... 2016. It's 2016. With me as co-host Sean Michael.
Hey there guys.
And we're back with more news of the week, because this is the WinBeta podcast, and somebody asked earlier, what is this podcast all about? It's about Microsoft news. We talk about the biggest and the best Microsoft news of the past 5 days, usually because there's not really any news on the weekends. Sometimes there is, sometimes we talk about it. But this week, not a lot of big stories.
Well, sometimes there's news at 4 in the morning and Zach has to tweet about it.
Yeah, sometimes there is. We'll get to that in a little while. We should probably just dive into the Redstone stuff, since that is kind of why most of you are probably here.
Well, first you should take down the pre-show text so all of our live listeners know.
You know what? I'm not even going to stop this time. We're just going to keep going.
Do it.
Just
perfect. All right. We can still talk about Redstone because we got extension stuff.
Yes, we do. Big extension stuff. So, Microsoft is ready to flight extensions to insiders. I was told by trusted I learned this week that you have to say by trusted contacts, because people don't believe you otherwise. So
as opposed to those untrusted contacts.
As opposed to contacts that you don't believe that you still talk about, yeah. So yeah, my trusted contacts told me this week that Microsoft is now ready to flight this extension support for Edge in an upcoming build, but it looks of it will be the next insider drop now, because when I was told earlier in the week, I wasn't entirely sure, because we hadn't had one since last week, and the extension support had only literally just been flighted internally, so it was kind of a little bit fuzzy if it was going to be in the next insider drop or the one after. Now, since we haven't had an insider drop yet, it's looking like the next insider drop will be the one. So we haven't had one today, and so I'm assuming we won't have one now. So the insider drop next week should definitely include them. That's if, of course, nothing bad happens and they have to pull the build or something, which is unlikely.
Not again.
Unlikely, considering, you know, they need to get these extensions out for developers to begin porting their apps. So at build, they can talk about how many apps or extensions they've had submitted to Microsoft for approval in the Edge extension store, which, for those who don't know, will be handled through the Windows Store, the Universal Windows Store coming in RS1. So you click on the little link in Edge, it opens up the store, you have a selection of extensions, you download whatever you want. Microsoft wants a fair amount of extensions ready for Redstone 1's launch, of say around 50, maybe less, around 50. They want at least 50, I think. So we'll see if they have that when Redstone.
I'm really dying to test out this Bing translation extension, mate.
There's a Bing translation extension. I've seen
actually,
it in
action. To be fair, I actually do want to use that, because we use international.
I would
sites
love to have an extension that yeah.
Yeah, we'll use those all the time, actually. When I'm on Chrome, we have a whole international RSS feed, and I can't use any of it if I'm on Edge.
Yeah, it's unclear if how many extensions Microsoft will drop next week for testing, because there isn't a lot that exist right now, obviously, because developers haven't been invited to port extensions yet. There's a few that exist, and one of them that I have seen, which is Bing Translate. Not entirely sure if that will be dropped for insiders to test. I imagine it will be, because it's a simple app.
Hopefully.
I mean, we've also seen Pinterest demoed before, and there was a Reddit extension that leaked a while ago. I guess they will also show up, but who knows? Who knows? Yes, extensions will launch for the public in June, when Redstone 1 is supposed to roll out officially. Extension insiders next week, and of course, since this isn't the first build with extensions for insiders, the extensions will be rough. They don't expect a polished final product. There's probably features that will be missing, like using in privately or whatever else, or maybe not, we'll see. But yes, extensions are on the way. Very exciting. It's literally soon this time. We're not kidding anymore.
Like we got to get something sooner than soon, faster than fast.
Yes.
Tenor than 10.
Tenor than 10.
Tenor than 10. Coming now. But yeah, no, that's exciting. Well, didn't you say that they're only 1 decimal point away from the build that has extensions right now?
Decimal point? No,
we're like
build...
.163 and it's on .164 or something like that.
Which build rolled out for insiders this week?
For the Redstone one.
Yeah, was that... It was a mobile build, so it doesn't actually matter, because mobile doesn't have extensions yet. Or I don't know if they will get extensions.
14283, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a mobile build. Desktop builds on 7.9. I was told that the first build with extension support was 14 what was it, 284.
So we're not that far off.
We're not that far off, and I imagine they will publish a build, either that build or a newer build next week.
Hopefully.
But otherwise, no extensions next week, guys.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, you want to move on to this controversial piece?
Yes.
All right. So this week we get another guy who said things that we disagree with. His name is Tim Sweeny. No relation to Sweeney Todd, as far as I know. Basically, he had some comments about Windows being a closed ecosystem and a walled garden with the Windows Store and how we have to fight it. He wrote that piece for The Guardian, I believe. This was I'm not an expert on this walled garden versus non-walled garden stuff, but to me, he seems to be missing the mark quite a bit on this problem. First of all, there are walled gardens all over the place that everyone seems completely fine with.
This is my problem with his... I mean, I can understand to an extent where he's coming from, but my problem with it is that it's fine for Google and Apple to do this, but when Microsoft tries and does do it, apparently they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
That's not really fair. But his stance is more that I read an article that kind of jumped on this on his comments, but in a different kind of way. He said, "Yeah, it makes sense, but think about it like this: because gamers, for example, who download games from the Windows Store, can't mod their games, unlike if you download a game from Steam, for example."
Right.
This is kind of that walled garden that Tim Sweeny kind of is referring to in that sense. Like, the programs can't, expand and do what they want, and it's not freely accessible to the public. They can't bend the rules or whatever else. Sure, but that's safer for the average consumer. Like, normal people who aren't going to be modding games or anything. It's just easier for them to one click in the store and download the entire Adobe Creative Suite and be done with it.
Right. And that's to me. People need to understand that Microsoft is going. I understand that they have users that are specialized, but the vast majority of their users are consumers.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I would like some place where PC users and gamers can always mod the game. Like, I want that to always be a thing. Like, I don't want it to get to a point where the Windows Store is this absolute monopoly and Steam doesn't exist anymore and there's no platform that you can mod on. Like, that's fine. Like, I want mods to be a thing, and I like Win32 apps because of the access that they give. But the idea that like there's walled gardens all over the place, like going on about sideload, like you can sideload universal app, you can sideload apps if you really want to in the store. You just have to know what you're doing. Like there's ways around this that it just seems like one of these things. I don't know. I don't even know who Tim Sweeny is. This is another one of these to me. It seems like someone who covers tech for a large international website that somehow isn't.
Tim Sweeny was Epic CEO. Is this a different guy? I'm going to find out. Keep talking.
Doesn't he have a vested interest in trying to bring down Windows anyway?
I have no idea. I don't think this is the same guy that does that. I mean, is this the Snapchat CEO? No, it's Epic CEO.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So isn't it in his best interest to get things to go the way he wants?
I guess so. What he wants is an open platform. And sure, Windows, the openness of Windows isn't going away. Developers can still develop an app and just not have it in the Windows Store. You can still, download
amazingly
the program.
enough, I have Win32 apps running right now.
Yeah, I have most of the apps on my computer aren't from the Windows Store. They're all just from the internet.
In fact, you know what, Zach? Isn't the very Skype program that I'm using a Win32 app?
Say that again, sorry? Yeah, those are Skype we're using. It's Win32.
I'm not using the Skype Universal app. I'm using Microsoft's made Skype app.
Kareem has an excellent point.
Program.
Kareem has an excellent point. Sweeney is bringing up a non-issue. 70% of Microsoft revenue comes from legacy support with enterprise. Win32 apps aren't going anywhere anytime soon anyway. So yeah, they're not going anywhere. Regardless of how he thinks, the Windows Store is more of a consumer market than an enterprise market. This would just be for people who just want to download apps easily. This isn't going to be for people like me who actually might need to go into a program and tweak a few settings or change a few things or mod a game, for example. You can do that yourself via downloading the program separately.
And Ars Technica has a response post to his post, and it's talking about basically he's missing the mark. The PC market has issues that people want to address, like quoting from them. They say the consoleization of the PC, like the consoleization of the smartphone before it, isn't motivated simply by some desire to seize control of software sales. It's motivated by the desire to make the PC not horrible. And then this article continues to talk about PCs and spywares and malware and how, patent security and that sort of thing. And this isn't Microsoft is sitting on top of their ivory tower and they were going to lock down every single person to have to use this walled garden of a locked store. They're going to somehow block any modding on any platform, whatever, and Win32 apps are going away. That's not what's happening.
No.
So I don't know why we seem to get regular articles where people think that universal apps are like the way that the world is going to end. I just don't get it.
Everyone seems to assume Microsoft is the bad guy. Microsoft isn't the bad guy. Microsoft is continuing to catch up with the rest of the ecosystem. My computer screen just went black. They're finally getting to the point in which they can have their own app store and offer apps to consumers. But just like how long has OS X had a Mac app store? A while now.
Yeah.
There are still programs that come out for the Mac that aren't in the Mac app store because either they can't be or they just don't want to be. It's fine. In 5 years' time, Microsoft isn't going to say, right, Win32 apps will no longer run on the desktop unless they are passed through the Windows Store. That is never going to happen. It will just kill a lot of things quite instantaneously. Well, it's fine. This is a non-issue.
On top of all this, I don't see why that would be in Microsoft's best interest. Like I could understand if someone was, like Kareem pointed out, what their revenue comes from. Look, I'm in journalism school right now. One of the number one things you do as a journalist, you're supposed to follow the money. Well, where does Microsoft's money come from? Where does this support come from? Why do people use Microsoft over other platforms? They're not going to do things that jeopardize that.
No.
I'm not saying that they're perfect. Microsoft makes mistakes all the time. We try to report on the good and the bad here. But I think the idea that they're just going to ruin computers somehow with universal apps is ridiculous.
Yeah. Also, back on the whole game modding thing for UWPs, Microsoft has said that they're going to work on making that possible, so gamers will be able to mod their games from the Windows Store, just at a later date. So soon for that. But yes, I think right now at least this is a non-issue. The only time I can see this being an issue is if, which they wouldn't. Microsoft said, right, you can't. All apps are from the Windows Store now, just like with Windows RT.
You know what bugs me about this, probably even more so than what he's saying, because if I disagree with it, is the Guardian's readership is massive, and the readership is generally an older audience, and this reminds me so much of that. Was it Graham? What's his face? The guy who did the telemetry data, and these people write these articles. People read them once, and they don't do anything else. They're not coming to WinBeta. People reading The Guardian, generally speaking, I don't think go read The Guardian's tech section and then check WinBeta's Discuss forums. I don't think that there's that many people that fall into both those categories.
No.
So someone will read this once and then they'll be like, oh, Microsoft, they're doing bad things. I don't know what a walled garden is, but it doesn't sound good. And then they get hundreds of thousands of views. And then we'll write a correction, and Windows Central will write about it, and Ars Technica will write about it, and we're all trying to clear it up. But the readerships don't overlap. So when big sites like this write stories and opinion that convince people of one thing, and they don't back it up, it really bothers me. Because to me, they have a duty to try to report things better than this.
It's a lot of work, and that's why I don't dabble with it. I only write about stuff. I don't write about what other people wrote about. It's just too difficult for me.
But I don't lie about
waste
what
of time.
I know.
No.
I don't know certain things, so I don't go on websites and write about it. And if I don't know about it, I try to be honest about it.
The only time a post, a comeback post, as I like to call them, the only time they work is with with insiders, pretty much, people who are fans of Microsoft. But they already know all of this, that you're right, because they're insiders and they're Microsoft fans. They already know that Tim Sweeney is kind of got off on the wrong foot regarding the Universal Windows platform. So you're writing for a non-audience regarding that. But it's just, yeah, you're right. Tim Sweeney or whoever should do more research. He's just not happy because, I don't know, maybe perhaps he thinks that the UWP system is going to hurt how he gets to distribute his games, or how people who want his game buy his game, or something. I don't know.
Doesn't he put aren't his games on other walled platforms anyway?
I think, yeah, Epic Games on iOS.
He has games on consoles that are the definition of a walled garden.
iOS is also the bigger definition of a
like
walled
he's
garden.
got games in walled gardens. Like, I just don't get it.
We should move on before
All right, moving on then.
we don't get even more. Let's talk about Redstone again. Why did we have this after the Tim Sweeny thing? We should have it first. Redstone, mobile and desktop, but this was focused around mobile. New feedback hub merges Insider and feedback apps. So if you're in Windows Insider right now, and you're running either a Redstone desktop or mobile build, you can check your phone or your desktop. You have two apps for the Insider program, or just feedback in general. You have an Insider Hub, which is dedicated purely for Insider information. You can rate your build from there. You can see achievements, quests, whatever else. And then there's a feedback app, which is generally available for everybody, even non-insiders. You can submit feedback about Windows via this app. Microsoft will see it and process it, and if it's popular, they'll maybe do it. Microsoft is changing how that works, in the sense that they have taken both of those apps out of the system and replaced it with a merged app called the Feedback Hub, which is the Insider Hub and the Feedback app in one. Literally, it looks identical, and in the hamburger menu, it's pretty much just everything, but feedback is now in there as well. So there's been questions as to how this will work for consumers. Like, will consumers still be able to submit feedback? I don't see why they wouldn't, because the feedback function can still work regardless of whether you're an insider or not, I would imagine. I haven't tried. I should try it. I don't know. I will try it, and then I'll let people know. But yeah, it's just a unified app. And actually, I think this is a better idea. And I think this should have been the way it should have been originally when the Insider Hub was launched. Because why would they be two separate apps? Even insiders, I've seen insiders get confused about this. They'd be like, well, okay, I'm in the Insider Hub, how do I submit feedback? And then you don't submit in the Insider Hub, you submit it via the feedback app, and they go, oh, that makes sense. No, it doesn't.
I think they probably introduced the newer one with specific functionality, and then sometimes there's like overlap and that sort of thing. So I'm glad that they're merging, because like you said, it's just a natural fit to bring these together. That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and you predicted it, and then it happened.
Well, it's not happened yet. Microsoft has said that it's coming in the next build. Pretty much, it's funny.
These people, they question you, and they question your sources.
Yeah,
when have you been wrong on
why.
these things?
What's next?
It's still you. We had a possible rollout, so I was hoping you had some info on this.
Did I?
No, but I'm hoping.
Microsoft VentureBeat. This is a report from VentureBeat. VentureBeat reports that Microsoft sent out an email to partners and OEMs saying that a March rollout is now in the plan. Guess what, guys? It's March, so it has to be soon, right? Unless, of course, the email was an estimate and the estimate is now wrong because there are more bugs.
Which March, Zach? Does it say 2016?
March 2017. No.
Yeah, exactly.
With Redstone 2. Redstone 2 official rollout of Windows 10 Mobile confirmed, guys. No, not confirmed. This is. Of course, this is another estimation, because Microsoft has said internally at least, multiple times that they've had dates. They had December, which they said publicly, which they never met, so they shut up since December because they don't know. They had dates for February, and now they've got dates for March, apparently. It's looking good, though. Right now, if Microsoft had another patch in testing internally, it'd probably be less likely. But they don't right now. .164 that was released earlier this week, or was it this week or last week? This week, is looking like is a good candidate for the official rollout build for Windows Phone 8.1 users.
Well, some people thought that it is the candidate because of how people had to get it, right?
Well, how do you mean how have to get it?
Was it this build or the previous one where you had to actually change rings to get it?
The release preview ring.
Right, was that this one where you had to change from...
That's the last one as well, but that doesn't actually mean anything.
That doesn't mean anything? Okay.
No. Not until it rolls out officially, at least. So yeah, it could be this month. I mean,
could be next month.
Technically,
could be Redstone 1.
I think I've mentioned this on WinBeta somewhere in an article. March. I also heard March. I heard March before this report came out, I think, and I'm pretty sure I said that somewhere. But March was always more likely than February, which is what that was said. Even when they had a February estimated time. They were like, maybe February, but it's looking more like March.
Maybe they should have said something like February 30th. Then they just would have been covered.
Or just 2016, sometime in 2016.
Yeah. It'll be here eventually. Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, on the heels of this and the fact that there is some debate on how they're supposed to roll it out, and I'll probably touch a little bit on some of the other inspiration for this article as well. But in any event, we had a poll this week, and it's on how Microsoft should approach the rollout of... I skipped the story, but... I don't...
You know what? It's fine. Keep going.
All right, then. We did a poll this week. Sorry about that. I got so excited. How Microsoft should approach releasing Windows 10 Mobile specifically. So because we've had multiple delays and we had again, is it delayed? How delayed is it if it wasn't public? But again, it was internally delayed. So, there's a debate on that anyway. In any event, how should they approach it? And I put in 3 different options. I have one is delay the release until it's completely finished. I recognize that technically speaking, it's never finished, but you know what I mean, where it's good on every device that they'd be upgrading it to. 2, progressively roll it out to select devices. This is the camp I fall into. I think if it's always working on the Lumia 930 and it works perfectly, I think they should roll it out to the 930 and the 1520 and the other high-end devices that can handle it, and then later roll it out to the 520s and the lower-end devices. But I understand some of the reasons they might not do that. And then the third option, which actually got votes, was roll it out quickly and fix bugs post-release. And I'm not joking. That's how I phrased it. Roll it out quickly and fix bugs post-release. So, I don't know. Where do you fall on that? And then I'll get into what they said.
I am in the boat of release when it's bloody ready to be released. There was no point pushing something out that isn't ready, only to have people complain and there to be backlash. People are freaking out over Microsoft not releasing this. It's not at the end of the world. As I've said time and time again, Windows 10 Mobile is in hibernation. It's Microsoft's kind of...
Sleeping giant.
They're working on it, sure, but they're not pushing it, for example. Like, they're not advertising it still. They haven't advertised any of their new handsets because they aren't ready to. And I've said this before. But people seem to think that's terrible. Microsoft can't have this in hibernation. They're going to lose that again. Who cares? They've lost anyway. The platform now is entirely for fans. It doesn't bleed in matter if they won't push the update officially yet.
No, it's fans and enterprise, and yeah,
it's coming. It doesn't matter when anymore. It doesn't.
I would be as bold to say that if there was another unexpected delay, and it actually got to the point that they were debating April or May, that they should just wait until Redstone. Because then when they announce Windows 10 Mobile, they can announce Windows 10 Mobile with the ability to text message on your computer and make phone calls. Because right now, if they roll out Windows 10 Mobile in March, and then it's only running on certain handsets that no one's ever heard of, and then in July, you get this Redstone thing and people don't attach them. So it's a long time. I'm not saying delay it 4 or 5 months or whatever it is between March and, whenever it would be in the summer. But if there was an unexpected delay, I'd be okay with them just saying, let's just wait and announce it.
You know what?
Or just, you know what I mean?
I would be fine with them. Even if Microsoft came out today and said, we're not releasing Windows 10 Mobile until Redstone in June, I would be okay with that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, there's going to be a point where you're just like, well, why not just wait a week? Why not just wait a month?
Do you know why I know this? Do you know why I'd be okay with that? Because people who are still using Windows Phone 8.1 don't care.
Yeah, and honestly, you could also, just imagine the few people you have on Windows Phone 8.1, if you said, there's an update, with this update, you can text message from your PC, they'd be like, oh, all right, I'm cool. That's fine, update.
But
I like that.
Only if you have Windows 10 on your desktop, which not many people, which compared to Windows 7, not many people do.
Yeah, but they could put that in there, and then that would be an encouraging reason to get more devices on Windows 10.
Sure, but back to the whole people who are using Windows Phone 8.1 don't care, because there's a tiny percent of people who are using Windows Phone as a whole, Windows Phone 8.1 and 10. And the people who are on Windows 10 already have Windows 10. And they're the only people who want the update to roll out. They've already got it, they just want it to roll out. People who are running Windows Phone 8.1 generally don't care. And
yeah,
It's like
I agree.
there's no need to rush it or push it out straight away. The market share, if Windows Phone had a market share the size of iOS or Android, yeah, I would understand why they need to push it out ASAP. They don't. People don't care.
To be blunt, this is what you're saying. If you're still on Windows Phone 8.1, you would be okay with it for just about eternity.
Right, Windows Phone 8.1.
Because Windows Phone 8.1 is not as finished. It's not as good of an operating system as some of the others out there.
No, but
it has the app gap, and it's obviously people are moving the support to Windows 10 Mobile. If you're still cool with that, you'd be cool with it for 3 more months.
Right, and people who bring up the developer argument, saying that, but if they don't release it, why would developers care? Developers don't care anyway. They're focusing on Windows 10 desktop. The only reason Windows 10 Mobile benefits from it is because of the universal app platform where they can just scale their apps with little to no code changes.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think Bank of America is making a Windows 10 app because of the 5 phones running it?
No.
No, they're doing it because 200 million PCs are running it, and they figure we should put something on there. That's why they're doing it. They don't care about me running. Do you think they care about me running my Lumia 930 in England so that I can deposit a check using an app on my phone? I doubt it. I really doubt Bank of America cares one iota about that.
Right.
They care about 200 million, 300 million when it gets their PCs.
It's just people being ridiculous.
What was that?
People are just being ridiculous when it comes to them wanting it to roll out ASAP. If Microsoft rolled out 10.586.0 officially, there would have been so much outrage.
Yeah, and I'll get the poll results, and then I have more of a rant here. So anyway, the poll had just over 11, almost 1,200 votes. 49% of people, so actually not quite half, said delay the release till it's completely finished. 31%, so a pretty sizable percentage, said progressively roll it out to select devices, and then 20%. These are those 20% that are your best friends, Zach. Roll it out quickly and fix it later.
That would be my if I didn't care about people who actually use the platform because they don't have anything else, then I'd be in that group. I'd be like, who cares? It's bugs. But it does wait and release when it's sensible to release it.
It does matter though, because look, I'm on Windows 10 Mobile because I'm okay with the few bugs that it comes with. My fiance, we finally switched her device to Windows 10 Mobile, and she likes it, though she did notice the predictive texting seems worse on Windows 10 Mobile than Windows 8.1.
Does it actually still?
I think so. I still think it's worse now. But that's the subjective test. She didn't say in comparison. She just said the predictive text sucks. So I think it's because
it definitely didn't work in the early Windows 10 Mobile pre-release builds, but I don't notice any difference now. Maybe because I haven't used Windows 10.
I still think it picks up words funny. Like if you type something, it assumes I want to type something wrong.
Using the swipe keyboard or the actual just
the swipe?
Oh, the swipe maybe, because every time I try to say where, and it just never knows which where I want.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to. Yeah, in any event. So I have it because I want it. She has it because she's okay with it. But my friend that has a Lumia 630, why do that? Why make them have a worse experience? They might leave them. All they're going to know is I got this update from Microsoft and my phone broke. They're not going to know that it's getting fixed next month.
No.
They're just going to say their phone broke.
You know what?
They're going to go to the store and they're going to buy a new one.
And then, exactly. And it probably won't be a Windows phone.
Yeah, they'll buy an iPhone because Microsoft broke my phone.
Microsoft will be hurting themselves releasing the update when it's not ready. So be glad Windows 10 Mobile isn't out yet.
All right, let me just little mini rant here. So we talked about this in the pre-show. This kind of puts me in an awkward situation. We had an article this week that I disagree with quite a bit. And I was joking with you. I said, if this was written by somebody else, I'd probably take him to town a bit more. But it's my coworker. So, it doesn't need to be personal attacks or anything. But we had an article this week about how they need to, fix what's going on with Windows 10 Mobile. I'll just say this. I think Windows 10 Mobile has not been released because it's not ready for release for every device. Check our comments. Check everything out. There are people running Windows 10 Mobile right now on non-high-end devices that have big issues with it. You had issues with your Lumia 950 XL like yesterday, didn't you?
It's in repairs. So.
and so there are people on flagship devices, non-flagship devices, low-end devices that are having issues with this operating system. Why would you roll that out to the general public if it's not ready to be sent out? And sending it out would have negative consequences, but not sending it out doesn't have any negative consequences.
What gets me, and it's not just the article that we wrote, because to be fair, that was I guess it would have been one of the better articles out of some of the other articles I've seen regarding this matter. And there are other people's opinions. There are people who have opinions about this that are way worse than what was described in the article. They describe it as if it's a big problem that it hasn't come out yet. And I don't understand where they're getting that information. Like, why do they think it's a big deal or a big issue or the end of the world? It isn't. It doesn't matter. Nobody uses this platform anyway. It's like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't.
One of the things I've had to learn, and this is something that you learn just growing up, and obviously we all got to keep growing up and maturing, but I'm in a role right now at my university where I'm a course representative. So by definition, I'm supposed to represent the members of the course and bettering the course. I'm supposed to get feedback. I used to have a habit of assuming that what I thought was a bad thing was inherently just agreed upon by everybody else. So my opinion, I'd be like this, and then I would ask people leading questions. Do you think this is a problem? Well, they're not going to say to your face, like, no, I completely disagree with you. They're going to be kind of coy about it. They're going to be nice. You know what I mean?
I would.
I think that's what these journalists are doing. Well, yeah, but a lot of people, they're going to pick a fight. They're just be like, yeah, whatever, sure. That's what I think these journalists are doing. The journalists, they think they have an opinion and therefore it's truth. And we all do that a little bit. I do that on the podcast, but I think sometimes people do that too much. And they just assume that because me and 3 of my friends say it, it's inherently true. And then they do that.
Kareem says, I think the argument is that without an OS release, Microsoft can't market it. Sure, but Windows 10 Mobile has been released. People also seem to forget this. The only thing that hasn't happened is Windows 10 Mobile hasn't rolled out officially. Windows 10 Mobile has been released, though. It's available for sale on store shelves if you buy a 950, 550, 650, whatever. They don't market them either. And that isn't affected by the Windows 10 Mobile rollout for 8.1 handsets. If it mattered, they would market these new handsets. They don't market the new handsets because Microsoft actually doesn't want Windows 10 Mobile in any sort of limelight right now. Again, these handsets are only for fans and for enterprises.
All right. I'm going to say, and maybe this is just in my rant here. My poll was originally a little more directed at this topic, but we kind of tweaked it. Let me just steal a line from what I wrote in that poll that's now, not written anywhere. Do you really honestly ask yourself this question when you think about Windows 10 Mobile being released? Do you think the same press that reports telemetry data, security flaws, despite experts in the field telling them that they're wrong, the same press that's tried to call Windows 10 Mobile dead on arrival before it was even released to official devices, the same press that went on about security info being sent to Microsoft when Windows 10 came out in July for months, despite people responding, the press that honestly does not know what they're talking about some of the time, that put out information that they hear on 2 or 3 places, I think just to get clicks. Do you trust that press to be forgiving with Windows 10 Mobile if they release a beta version of a software?
Absolutely not. They'd rip into that for years.
So why in the world would you do that? The press attack things when there isn't a problem. They attack things when they misunderstand a problem. They're certainly going to attack things when there actually is a problem. So if Microsoft releases an OS that doesn't work on their most popular device, the Lumia 520 and the 640 and the 630, the press would eat them alive. So why do that?
They won't.
Exactly.
They won't.
Right. Moving on. We had 2 builds this week. If you want to talk about the slow ring preview ring build, I guess you can, but there wasn't much new. But we also had a Redstone build.
We did have a Redstone build. We had mobile build 14283, which actually comes with a hefty set of features. Funnily enough, not the feedback hub. The feedback hub is 2 builds newer than this, which wasn't rolled out this week, so you don't get the feedback hub yet. Very soon, though, for you lot. But yes, this build includes improvements to the phone app, which apparently now, what does it do now? We know how important it is to stay informed when someone is trying to reach you, whether that's through notifications, live tiles on your start screen, or directly within your communication applications. To help with this, we've added missed call and voicemail rating indicators to the tabs inside the phone app. amazing, revolutionary. Not only that, there were updates to Outlook, Mail, and Calendar, but this isn't tied to the build. It was released, pushed out just to insiders when they want any mobile build, Redstone mobile build. Outlook now has the ability to. There's an "I'll be late" button, which I'll be using all the time when Ron wants me to come online. And there's also, and then they said there's a coming soon, the feedback hub. So there you go. Pretty much it for this build. Fixes include the apps list background bug, now fixed. Hooray. And the fade effect on the tiles when you resize the tiles, that's there now, which is very nice. Apart from that, nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
well, there you go.
But yeah, people want Redstone builds for some reason. There's nothing in them.
Yeah, but you know, the more non-feature filled Redstone builds we get, the closer we are to feature-filled Redstone builds.
It's true.
Right?
Build is round the corner, and I imagine there'll be lots of things to be shown off there.
Yeah. So yeah, we have other phone-related news, a lot of mobile stuff. As you know, last summer we had a lot of PC-related stuff because Windows 10 was rolling out. Well, now we have lots of mobile stuff because Windows 10 Mobile is eventually rolling out, right? Maybe. We'll see eventually. Anyway, so there's some rumors about a new device called the Alcatel Idol Pro 4 from the same people that made the new Alcatel device that I think we just did a review of. I want to say we just put a review up today for Alcatel's current device. But this rumor is about a future device. So in the article, they say, like Acer, Veo, HP, Alcatel is another OEM believing in Windows 10 Mobile. So yeah, they released the One Touch Fierce XL, and now there are rumors about this Idol Pro 4. Apparently it's a super phone, which really means it's running some of the highest end specs. So if the rumors are true, it would be running a Snapdragon 820, a full HD display, have a 6-inch screen with a rumored 2K resolution, 64 gigs of storage, 4 gigs of RAM, a 22 megapixel rear camera, and a 10 megapixel front-facing camera. So those are pretty high-end specs. Beats out the 950 XL in a lot of different measurables and that sort of thing. So if this is true, then that's a pretty good set of specs for yet another device. Gives people another option, and this is capitalism in, you know, the good sense. Microsoft comes out with the 950 XL, HP, and you know, other manufacturers come out with phones with higher specs, and then Microsoft has to do the same thing, and they bump each other up and up and up. So I think it'd be a really good thing. So yeah, hopefully this hopefully these all come out, and then if a Surface phone comes out as well, you just have a bunch of different high-end phones to choose from. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, more choice is better, but I always fall back to this: who's going to buy this when you can buy? Actually, I used to say, why would you buy a third-party OEM Windows phone when you could just buy a Lumia and be supported forever? It's looking like the OEMs don't actually have to support no more. It's just Microsoft pushes updates out anyway. So this is looking more enticing. Not only that, the 950 and the 950 XL aren't all that great of devices compared to this and the HP Elite. So I'm not going to say that no more. I'm going to say, yeah, this is looking good. I might actually buy one of them.
Yeah, well, I want to do a personal review. Like I said, I'm drooling over the HP Elite X3. Definitely want to do a review of that, I think, as most of our staff do.
I'm excited for the Alcatel tablet mobile, the mobile tablet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different... This is a good push. You want more OEMs doing different things because Microsoft... I don't want to say they have to play it safe because the Surface does push lines, but they push lines in a way that is relatively safe now. Like the Surface Book is great and it's new, but I wouldn't say that it's like new to the point that it could fail.
What do you mean?
Right? I mean, like I said, they push a boundary. They're trying to revolutionize a category or whatever, but I wouldn't say the Surface Book does something that could just lose Microsoft mountains of money and ruin the PC market. Like, that's not going to happen.
Microsoft doesn't fall under that same issue mistake that they fell under with the original Surface RT. They made too many. They thought people would want to buy it, and nobody did. So they made too many and lost a lot of money because of it. Now, when they announce a new product or something like that, they make an average amount. So which is why they sell out quicker, because there's less.
So we haven't even seen like a Surface Non-Pro. There isn't a Surface 4 yet, and even if they did release it, it's months release departed from the Surface Pro 4, so there's no confusion. And so with phones, I think that's similar. You know, Microsoft's going to make certain phones doing certain things, and then these other guys can, does virtualization work? Or does this spec work? If we take out the great camera, does that actually affect sales? That sort of thing. So, you know, I think it's good to see more because they're going to take other risks and they're going to try to fill this niche versus that niche. I think it's really good. So I'm Satya Nadella said it, and I was kind of like, OEM's actually going to support Windows. That doesn't. I don't know how many of them are going to make phones, but this is a good number of manufacturers, so it's good.
You know what we should talk about? It's not on the OneNote, and we should talk about it because it's kind of important. What Mary Jo Foley reported this week regarding the RS2 delay and hardware, because add that in and you can tag it when we do the timestamps and stuff. So yeah, Mary Jo Foley on the heels of my Redstone 2 report reported about the hardware thing, which I mentioned a second ago. Her sources say that the Redstone 2 delay is due to hardware. Yep. But the question now is, what does that mean? Does that mean we're not getting a Surface Pro 5 or a Surface Book 2? It's because if Redstone 2 is delayed till spring 2017.
Yeah, Redstone 2 is spring 2017.
Yeah, then if it's delayed because of the hardware, then the hardware must come out around the same time, right? This is all very confusing. We're not entirely sure what hardware it's been delayed for. But my sources also say that it's not just hardware, because many people have misinterpreted the story as thinking that Redstone 2's delay is specifically because of hardware. It's not just hardware. Hardware is a big factor as to why it's been delayed. There is also a software focus that has required this push as well. The software focus is less of the reason why, but it's still a reason towards why this Redstone delay has happened. There's a lot. So Redstone 2 is looking to be a much bigger update compared to Redstone 1 now because of this delay, and obviously the hardware push. The hardware will light up new features in Redstone 2, and there'll be new features, of course, for everybody else as well. Redstone 2 is looking like the update to be excited for. I mean, Redstone 1, of course, will bring loads of stuff for developers and will bring devices together, like your phone and desktop and stuff. That's all Redstone 1, extensions, etc., etc. Redstone 2 will be building upon all of that in new and innovative ways, if you will. So, yeah, just what we should mention that, because that was this week's kind of big story.
Yeah.
Redstone 2 and hardware. So, yeah, story.
There you go. Tagged, and will be timestamped. Hopefully, I'm in Glasgow this weekend,
Yeah.
so timestamps might be a bit late. Anyway, we got a few quick things, and then an Xbox story. So this isn't like a regular segment, but I just want to put these together, kind of like a closing the app gap segment. We had Instagram beta kind of show up. We had Facebook Messenger spotted, and there's also news that Bank of America will be releasing an app soon. This kind of just, a sign that Windows 10 is giving some amount of life, because I don't think that these companies care that much about the Windows 10 devices running Windows 10 mobile. It's not officially released. There aren't that many people running it. Once it is officially released, there still won't be many people running it. I think a lot of this is because of Windows 10 push, except maybe Instagram, because Instagram is a mobile based platform. But yeah, I think it's great. It's the Instagram one did not use Project Islandwood, as far as I know. Do we know how to pronounce that yet? Usmeta? OS Meta?
OS Meta.
Anyway, it's their own Facebook-owned porting thing to be able to reuse code. And it's in beta right now. We have a hands-on with it. Oliver did a hands-on with it this week. And it's, it looks just like the iOS version. Even to the point, I think some people said you could try to force touch things. Of course, we don't have force touch on Lumia.
You just hold it. I think it's really cool. I love it. You can just hold the picture and it gives you the iPhone 6S force touch. It's wicked.
Yeah, so there you go. So there's that. So yeah, Instagram beta, just about a few of these apps. I think it's good news that we're seeing some of these apps here. I've always said, you need the big 20 apps or no one's going to get it. And things like Instagram are part of that big 20. Obviously, Snapchat is there, but Instagram's there, Facebook Messenger. These are big apps. Those are things that you need the official non-beta versions of eventually, or people are just going to just turn off the platform entirely. At least some people. Not all people, obviously.
I'm not.
I'm okay with it, but I'm saying there are people, but they'll go, I had a friend, they go to Windows Phone, this, Snapchat, nope. Or this, no Instagram, nope, okay. And they don't want third party, they just want the first party official to work. So I think it's great. I think it's there. So there's that.
Yeah.
I don't have an Xbox X, so this preview build.
I didn't even know a preview build had come out. I love
literally fixed like two things.
I love how the Xbox handles preview builds. It's so unknown. It's like the Xbox, you use the Xbox, then when you're done, you turn it off, you do your own thing. Next time you turn it back on, new build's installed, and you don't even get a notification about it. Whereas on desktop and mobile, it's a whole big deal. Like, you've got to press the update button, you've got to wait for it to download, prepared, you've got to reboot. Xbox is just so elegant. It's so very elegant, and it's so elegant I didn't even notice. But yeah, this update fixes green screen issues when watching a video. And intermittent flickering black screens, so that they're both fixed, and new features in the build. Purchase Xbox 360 backward compatible games straight from the Xbox One marketplace, and the achievement snap is no longer in the build, but it will be coming back. So that's not really a feature, it's more the removal of a feature.
Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
coming back. Well, my question is, when will Redstone builds start rolling out for Xbox One? Because I'm assuming it will be a build because of the Universal Store and how that's coming to Xbox. And I also hope Redstone introduces Cortana for Xbox, because that would be nice.
Yeah, which we saw, and then they took it away.
Yeah,
they took it away.
We saw it once a long time ago, and it's not been back since.
You know, there's one more thing we probably should mention. I don't know how big of it. I don't know. We can debate about this. You can always cut this out if you really want. Should we mention about Android N having split screen view?
Yeah, we can quickly laugh at them.
Isn't this like... Well, actually, does it work on phones too, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does. I'm on a Daily Mail article. Oh, no. Some people will make fun of me for that. It says the upgraded software, known as Android N for now, offers a split screen feature, so users can toggle between apps more easily. So it's here on a tablet. They got a picture of it on a phone, too. I'd love it on a phone, on my phone. That'd be great. But on tablets, that's a bit old.
Yeah.
It took them long enough, didn't it?
It's just funny because when Windows 8 came out, everybody bashed it so hard. And
Yeah.
Windows 8 kind of introduced all of these things that iOS 9 and Android N are bringing to the table now. And when they do it, apparently it's all fine. But when Windows tries and does it, it's like, oh, you took away our start menu. How dare you? But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's... Android and iOS have so much app support that they can have just app-based tablets and everyone's okay with it. But with Microsoft, to make it a fully functional tablet, you needed Win32 and the App Store. And so I think that's what it really is. I think there are people who are happy with iPads only with the apps that they have. They don't want a start menu. They don't want mouse support. They don't want a desktop. They're okay with it being a tablet because they have every app that they want. But to get a fully functional Windows tablet, sometimes you kind of need to be able to use both. So that's part of the difference. But I do think it's funny that like when these split screen things were announced, like a big deal. That was in Windows RT like years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. Anyway, so there's that. Well, I think that's all the stories you had this week, Zach.
That's everything this week. So
That's all the news. There's no more news. We didn't miss a thing.
next week, I'm saying should, because we should, whether we do or not is a different story, but we should see a new build, desktop build with extension support. We should also see, maybe not for maybe phones will be next week as well. If there is a phone build next week, we should also see a new build for phones that includes the feedback hub. And then is it the week after build, or not the week after, but the week after that we have build, which is gonna be a big week. So very exciting.
I'm actually off work the week of build. I'm off uni, so I think we're going to be fully on work for WinBeta, full tilt.
Nice. It's Wednesday.
Who knows? Maybe we even do
March.
something special for the podcast.
It's 30th of March till April 1st.
Who knows?
So,
We'll
yeah.
see.
The first is a Friday. So yes.
That sounds right. Yeah, there you go. All right then. Well,
Yeah.
you were
right.
hosting this week. You want to wind us down?
So yeah, that was the WinBeta podcast for the week of March 11th, 2016. You can find my co-host Sean Michael on Twitter
At Sean_Michael_UK.
and you can find me on Twitter at ZachB_. You can find WinBeta on social media. You just search us up. I'm getting lazier. Just search us as WinBeta.
We're there.
We're fine. Just
WinBeta
type into
DOT org.
Google or Bing WinBeta Twitter and you'll find us. It's easy. Thanks so much for listening and watching, and we shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.